Galimera, Galispera, Galinichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. Woo! Message sent. That was me reverberating around the house. Squaddies, what a match. Let's rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Have you caught your breath? What an absolute baller of a result that is for the Gunners. Before you do anything, listen to our Chief Like Officer, Tammy Steels here, and hit that like button. We are on the road to 20K. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, welcome to the show. Let your voice be heard too. Arsenal fans, squaddies, gooners around this universe, there are moments in football where you have to show your best self. There are moments in football where you have to put all of the adversity aside, put everything that may have gone wrong in a half in the rearview mirror. You've got to park your emotions. You can show emotion, but don't get too emotional. Champions get results like that. We have not been able to do that for a few seasons. This would have been the fourth game in a row we would have lost at Newcastle with no goals scored. This would have been the first time since 2022 that we would have lost back-to-back away games. When you break ducks, when you get results like that, when you show resiliency, that is the mark of potential champions. It was huge. This is the hugest result ever. It's massive. And joining me to break it all down is my brother, Mr. James Johnson. Woo!
I turned 34 last week. I think I'm about 64, 74. Oh, man. This game is going to kill me. It's going to kill me. Not this actual game, this whole sport and everything.
Listen, I just want to take you guys through... Let's get this thing on a smaller scale as well for on screen. Welcome to everyone. Okay, let's start at the beginning, shall we? Because that's the best place to start. I'm hot, I'm sweaty. I've been up since... I want to take you guys through my day, right? And it's not about me, it's about the team. But I was standing up for our team. So I did Talk Sport Game Day with Max Rushton and Barry earlier today. And I like those guys. I'm a huge fan of Max as well. He's one of the good guys. And you could see the narrative that was trying to build in that they wanted to go to the Liverpool game in City, called both a failure. Losing to Liverpool in the manner in which we did, you could potentially say it's a failure. Getting a point against Manchester City was not a failure. Did we fail to set ourselves up to win both games? Probably. What would have been a failure, and what I said, was losing to Newcastle today and not capitalizing on the moment and the results of the weekend. If you're gunning for a championship, James, these are the weekends you have to take advantage of. These are the weekends that you cannot let slip through your fingers. These are the weekends where you send a statement and you make a mark. And I defended Mikel Arteta today because I felt like the narrative building around us with only 6 games in was pathetic. I felt like, football's been a bit negative in general. Opta came out with that XG stat, and you know me, the Generation Xer, I hate XG and I don't like all of that stuff. But you could see the stats from the season for all teams. But somehow the darts come Arsenal's way. Mikel Arteta doesn't do himself any favors in post-match pressers. But I hope today he sits there and he gloats and he sends subliminal messages. And also, right, I am not one to talk about it's the referees, it's VAR, it's this and that. What happened today was an absolute disgrace. And I'm so happy that when I had the opportunity to talk today on radio, I defended the manager, I defended our club, and I defended this rhetoric around us. James, justice was served today. It was
and yesterday. And yesterday.
Yes. And yesterday because of the Salah, because of that, was it? Yeah, the handball.
Yeah.
Right, James, where we got a packed house, keep coming in. James, talk to me. That's massive. This is massive.
Yeah. I mean, that at half time, I know we're jumping ahead, Soph, but I sat there and I know, because I had it flash up on Twitter and everything else, that we haven't beaten them when we've been a goal behind since 1986. So I was like, Christ, that's 39 years there. And I thought to myself, he has got to give what I would call a generational team talk to get these back out and everything. And when we did, it was a bit shaky, weren't it, to begin with? They had that one that he was obviously offside, but he clicked the bar, didn't he? And I was like, well, that's a warning. And I'm like, wakey, wakey. I'm like, wakey, wakey. But for me, everything today, because like you said, people like to pick out refs. We like to pick out decisions. We like to, we can't do excuses anymore. We have to do results at this football club. But we got well and truly shafted. The same incident happens last week, and Buemo and Sanchez, and they get the penalty and the red card. The same thing happens here, and it's a completely different decision. And that's the thing. All we want is consistency. All we want is consistency, and we haven't got it. And, they talk about how it's not meant to re-ref the game. Until he got told to look at that monitor and the other guys in his ear, he was adamant it was a pen. So that's been re-refed. That has 100% been re-refed. And I would deplore anybody who supports a team that had a situation like that not feel aggrieved, because that was an absolute disgrace. It was a travesty that that's not been given. And to bounce back and to score the goals. And do you know what? Moreno, someone I said the other day, for me, he's not a starter. And I know he gets a lot of plaudits and criticism as well for what he does. But I was just like, look, I'm not saying he's not an important player, but he's not a starter. And Arteta gave this whole big speech the other day about his finishers and, like taking inspiration from rugby and everything else. These are the moments you want these guys in. And I was also so happy, Sophie, for Gabriel, because he knew he mucked up with that goal that they scored.
100%.
Mosquera knew he mucked up, and he knew he mucked up. And I was so happy for him at the end that he got to stand there. And I mean, they're in the bloody gods anyway. They're up there with, Mount Vesuvius, aren't they, up there at Newcastle? And for him to stand there and be able to clap and be like, yes, guy. I'm like, that was a great moment for him. And he's a great player. I mean, I love Gabriel. I mean, I love all of them today after that. I can't slate any of them today after that. But yeah, what an amazing result, huge result, and just got to keep it kicking on. Just got to keep. There
are some squaddies. Well said, James. There are some squaddies that actually don't believe that was a penalty. But Panny, have the Arsenal gods returned? I sure do hope so. I'm shocked that there are some squaddies that don't think that was a penalty, even if he touched him after the first initiation. Since when is that a rule? Okay. For it not to be a penalty. It's so... Mbumo got a penalty for exactly the same thing just last weekend. You could show many examples of that. And I get it. I respect the opinion. I'm going to get Keith Hackett back on just for Carol because she asked for him. But
have you seen Keith's video?
I haven't, no.
I don't know. I don't know if he was food shopping on a Sunday or something. He filmed it in his car, but my God, I mean, that guy's a passionate guy. So when you have him on, you can see that he cannot abide the way that the game that he was in charge in and he loves so much, the way that it's being run now. You can tell how annoyed he is with all of them.
Yeah,
they haven't got a brain cell between them.
No, they sure don't. And the referee was a little bit all over the place today. Let's just move on from the penalty, shall we? Many of us believe that we were aggrieved and it was an absolute penalty. Gyökeres did a little bit, went a little high with his hands, but he's a forward. It's going to be a thankless. It'll be thankless because Gyökeres, I thought, was great today, and we'll get to that. But the penalty was a moment, and we dipped a little after they got the first goal. And like you said, Big Gabby, who's been an absolute rock for us, that was eating him the whole game. He went down a little bit too easily. And I think that in this game, Mosquera, who's been absolutely superb, been brilliant, there's going to come a time where you're going to get a little bit of a lesson as a new player in the Premier League. And today was one of those lessons. Newcastle, a very physical team. The atmosphere up there is not easy. He didn't find his feet. He gave away the ball stupidly for the corner that gave them the goal. We're not going to kill him here today. It is a massive lesson for a young player coming into the game. And he was going to have a match like this. And unfortunately, it was a match against what has become a team that has become our new nemesis. So I feel like, as complimentary as he has been to Gabriel in these big games, this was a big test. I think it felt like a bigger test than Manchester City, for sure, overall for our players at the back, just because of the history and the rivalry that has built with Newcastle, James. But once the half-time came and Mikel made that change, I thought it was really brave. I just want to wrap up the refereeing stuff before we move to a couple of other things. The other most ridiculous thing that happened, okay, and correct me if I'm wrong, squaddies, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I remember correctly, Crystal Palace long throw for them to get the winner against Liverpool at Selhurst Park. There was a towel and the player wiped the ball with the towel. I don't even care about, who uses a towel, who doesn't. It's so ridiculous that the referee took the towel away from Calafiori like a child, that he was doing something wrong. We see this week in, week out. There are towels around the pitch for players to pick up. They wipe the ball. I don't know, and I just don't get it. Why he did that is pathetic. And the other thing that I said on TalkSport today as well, by the way, guys, is Mikel Arteta is a mini trailblazer, because people take the piss out of him for his tactics sometimes. Does he get it wrong? Yes. But the long throw, PSG semi-final, everyone was laughing at us. Everyone was saying, like, whoa, how old school. He's a dinosaur reverting to the long throw. Set pieces, bringing in a set piece coach, the fundamentals of making it part of your arsenal. And now everyone's doing it. And this move, James, I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Sorry, I'm trying to get myself off mute and it wouldn't work. I thought it was hilarious that Calafiori. I was laughing my head off. I'm like, what? You're not allowed to towel the ball now. And I think it's because obviously the towel was behind Pope's goal and he's trying to make out like you're trying to waste. I'm like, he's not wasting time. We're behind. Why would the team that's chasing a game be wasting time? Like, where have you got that and that? Where's that come from in your head that we're doing that? But I'm like, no, we want to towel the ball because, we want the trajectory and everything for the throw. But yeah, just madness, just madness. But no, you're
Total
right.
Madness.
I mean, the long throws back, the set pieces are back. Every goal kick that we've taken in the league this season, Sophie's been in it. All of them have landed in the opposition half. David Raya has not played a short goal kick all season. And that's got to be something, that's something that we used to do when Havertz was in there. You're going long for him to knock it down to bring other players into play. And yeah, this is the trend now. Football does go in circles. I mean, I watched the Man United Brentford yesterday, and Brentford knew, they're like, these guys can't defend crosses, they can't defend throw-ins, they can't defend corners. So we're gonna hump them in. We're just gonna throw them in every time. And it's become a tact. It's a trend now. So people are getting on board.
I got to say, James, I kind of liked seeing a little bit of a difference, because we talked to Warren Barton about it. We talked to David Hillier about it. David Hillier is like vying to get the 4-4-2 back in football. To see David Raya hitting the long ball, Gyökeres is a big, strong lad. Knock it up there a few times. Don't have to do it all the time. And I thought today, and I want to start here real quick, People will criticize Gyökeres, I'm sure. Maybe not our fans, but others will. I thought he worked tirelessly today. His touch was really good. Few errand, kind of off passes. He held up the ball really well. And, maybe there was an opportunity in the second half where he should have hit it first time. And he thinks he's got a little bit of extra time to touch the ball. Should have just whacked it. I think that could have been a goal. But what he's doing is kind of thankless. He's that bruiser number 9. He's bullying people up front. He's opening up spaces and giving the flank players an opportunity. And I just thought today that it was the type of performance, James, where Gyökeres was so important and integral to kind of keeping that possession in the final third, but then also giving that physicality that we needed up front and that we've lacked without Havertz. What do you think about Gyökeres?
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. And I'll say it here because people who've obviously come back every week and they've seen me and they're going to come at me now for continuity purposes, which I totally understand. I can sit here on one hand and I can say what I said about Martinelli, where people are like, oh, well, didn't he work hard? Didn't we, he's dueling and everything else, but he didn't score the goals. Now, yes, we have paid Gyökeres to come in here and score goals. But what I will say is a lot of people have just gone, oh, that's all he does. I've seen even Arsenal fans go very visceral on him because they're just like, other than potentially scoring tap-ins or whatever, what does this guy do? Today, for me, that he's got a 5.8, by the way, on SofaScore for how, that was his rating, 5.8. But I look at it from a point of view of he's going to be very reminiscent to when Haaland first went into Man City. Haaland was touching the ball maybe 10, 15, 20 times a game, but still picking up 1 or 2 goals. So he's probably not going to get a lot of touches on the ball. That's something that Arsenal fans are going to have to adjust, because we've had forwards the last couple of seasons that are touching the ball more times than maybe anybody, because they're actually linking and bringing players into play. They're not trying to finish the game themselves. But you could tell that Arteta wants more of that Havertz-style work from him, as well as the goals. And today, other than in front of goal and some of his decision-making, that boy worked his arse off today.
Yeah. He
put in a shift and a half today. Yeah, he really did. And I was
got to be able to do that too, James. In games like this it'll be a little bit more sophisticated against some other teams and teams that just don't match up with us. But what Mikel asked him to do today and what he delivered, he needs to be able to do that. And he did it brilliantly, I thought.
Yeah. And after the game, before we come on here as well, I just had the little tiny bit of it on before we come in. And obviously he was like clapping with the lads as well. But Declan Rice come right from behind him and hugged it just to, because, yeah, he wants goals. He wants to be the main man. He's got a number 14 shirt on, for Christ's sake. Number 14 at Arsenal is just as important as number 9 is for Newcastle. Yeah. We know what number 9 means to them lot. Well, number 14 means, if not equivalent, maybe even more at Arsenal than number 9 at Newcastle does. And I hope today, even though he hasn't scored, he doesn't feel like he's important, because he did. Yeah. He put a bloody shift in today.
Just reminding everyone too, putting up the picture for those listening on Apple and Spotify, Gyökeres in the middle, Wirtz on one side and Sesko on the other. And I'm telling you right now, Gyökeres showed today some versatility and a piece of his game in a toolbox that we're going to need throughout the season. Right. James, I want you to talk to me about our midfield, right? I want you to chat to me about Zubimendi and Rice, because I see at the end, like, people are lauding Rice's performance. Maybe it was much better in the second half than the first. Maybe it's one of those, I like the saying, working in the shadows type. Maybe he wasn't getting enough from Zubi. I thought Zubi had one good moment, which was the chip over, which then Pope makes a fantastic save. Talk to me about Zubimendi and Rice a little bit.
Yeah, I just think, what Joe Linton, Tonali and Bruno are going to be. And Zubimendi, for as much as I love the guy, the one thing you can't change about him is the guy's height and his stature. And they looked at him, small guy. Oh, we can roughhouse him. We can get, when he gets on the ball, first touch, give him one of them, get into him early. Don't let him dictate. Because look what happened when he did dictate the play. Like you said, that ball into Timber, and okay, Timber maybe could have got a bit more power into his header, and maybe that could have been a goal there. But I'm not knocking it. It was a fantastic bit of football, fantastic move, and then nearly come off with the goal. But today, Rice, for me, like you said, not necessarily even operating in the shadows, but there were times where I thought I was watching Arsenal of old because it became a double pivot. It was just we had Gary Neville over here constantly like, well, get Declan Rice in the final third. Why is he's sacrificing his game? Arsenal have got some of the best centre-backs and one of the best goalies, yet Declan Rice is helping out. Declan Rice is helping out. The minute Zubimendi went off and Declan Rice also went back into the six, marathon man, Sophie. Marathon man. Just on that little turn in that second half, for me, I'd give him man of the match. I thought he was superb. He completely transformed, just does what he needs to do. I mean, that one with Murphy where he ran the whole length back and blocked him off when he was through. That's I love when people do stuff like that. He up and down, all action. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, James. So how do you think, what's the best, because clearly Rice is one of our best players. He's so fundamentally important. I agree with you. When Zubi went off, we saw the best of him. But, I think they've shown they can play together, but just in certain games maybe. And
it's game state, Sophie.
Yeah.
If the game dictates it, Declan Rice isn't selfish. People will like to think he is. He's not. And he's not just a fantastic footballer. He's got that. He's got a brain. This is a guy that's captain club to a European trophy that have no right potentially to win a European trophy. But he's got a noodle. He's got a brain on him. And he will go, do you know what? Yeah, maybe I do want to be a bit more like Gundogan or a attacking midfielding player or a Stevie G type that's going to get in there and get on the end of things and lash one top corner and everything. But he's like, I'll sacrifice my own game for the greater good of everybody else. And he could see someone there in a Zubimendi that's struggling, and he's like, do you know what? I'll come back and I'll help you out. And it's paid off. Them two, we'll get another game like Leeds or Nottingham Forest in a couple of weeks, and we'll be sitting here going, oh, look at these two. Because he knows Zubimendi, if the game dictates it, Declan Rice can play 5 or 10 yards higher, Sophie, because he knows that guy's going to mop it up, or when he's on the ball, he's going to ping it to him.
Yeah. I agree. I totally agree. And I like seeing this maturation of Mikel. I think I'm seeing it. I don't know if you guys agree with me, but the subs are coming early, halftime subs. He's learned, and he always wants the players to learn and evolve and move on. And I feel like this season, no complaints in terms of making changes. It's not working. Mosquera off at halftime, Zubimendi off. Even if you're like the starter versus the finisher, he is playing to win certain games. And he took I hate this saying, but the handbrake off, I would say the handcuffs off today. And we did go for it against Newcastle. He showed if he's kind of sitting in his rocking chair with his little fluffy Arsenal socks on, this weekend, he's probably kicking himself a little bit for showing Liverpool and Manchester City too much respect. James, a player of ours that gets no respect from the referees. Keith Hackett has said it on this show many times. I mean, Saka kicked left, right, and centre. The boy does not get any protection. Henry Winter was on this show talking about how he just doesn't understand how referees do not protect Bukayo Saka more. I thought that he was really good in the first half, faded a little bit, rightly substituted as well. We've got to protect him at all costs, especially now Madueke is injured. Talk to me a little bit about Bukayo and the importance of him coming back into the team, especially now Madueke isn't available. But the fact that Gordon gets, fouled, yellow card, Saka, absolutely no respect whatsoever for him.
He's back, isn't he? He was back today. The other night against Port Vale, I really didn't like the fact that he started there. So I got it, but I didn't like it. And we were wincing every time he was getting challenged against Port Vale because you were just like, oh, my God, no. Like you were saying, we've got no Madueke. You know, he doesn't normally like playing a right-footed player on that right-hand side. So you're looking at it going, well, the backup's going to be a 15-year-old who's a very capable. He's a very good 15-year-old player. Don't get me wrong. And also Nwaneri potentially, who at the start of the year, he said, this guy's not a winger. He's my midfielder. So would he put him out there? You know, that's a big question. Didn't even make the squad today, Nwaneri. But Saka for me today, I had very big worries about how he's come back physically. He's definitely put more muscle on, but you're looking at that going, but is that at the detriment, not to a positive? But however, today, I thought he was electric. I sat there and went, yeah, I've got my Bukayo Saka back. I'm like, he knows. I mean, it's a big game anyway. He knew the importance of it. He's got the armband on, and he was loving it. He was loving it. And yeah, he got taken off, which is the right thing to do.
100%.
You're spot on there, Sophie, what you said with Arteta. And the thing for me is he trusts these players now. He's had squads before where he has not trusted every single person that's on that bench. But now he's got players that he's like, if I need to plug you in, you're on. If you need to come, I saw people going, oh, that's absolutely killed Mosquera doing that to him today, hooking him.
No.
I'm like, not at all. Not at all, because he would go to Mosquera. That today, write it off, because you're in, you know, I'll have you back for Olympiacos few minutes next week or West Ham next week. He hasn't killed him at all. He hasn't killed him at all. He took him out the firing line of a very, very, you know, next to Anfield. That's a cauldron type atmosphere. He had a shaky moment. He knows he's had a shaky moment. He hasn't killed the boy.
Totally agree. There's a big difference between subbing Nuno Tavares and not believing in him, knowing that Mikel knows he's not the guy. He's not up to that standard, versus protecting, right, a player like Mosquera and subbing him at halftime. Yeah. And again, we talk about the maturation of Mikel Arteta in the sense that he's shown faith. He's shown trust. He started him. And he's saying, look, you've done your bit. It's not working out. Saliba comes on now. This is what we want to see from Mikel in terms of how he manages a bigger squad. There have been question marks about whether or not he can manage a bigger squad. And I think that today it showed that. I just wanted to put this thing up from Ben. Hilarious to see how much universal, long-term, globalized claims about Arteta and this team change from one match to the next. Sure, like in the public domain and opposing fans, yes, and within our own fan base, absolutely. On this show, I think this season we have criticized Mikel for not going for it against Liverpool and Man City, but in this room, we've pretty much stood by him and said no one's asking for Mikel's head here. And you know, today he had to prove it today. 5-1 against Manchester City last season was massive. You know, the season where we got 4 points off City, 4 points off Liverpool, those are massive moments. But it's the teams like Newcastle, Aston Villa, where we've kind of let ourselves down. And today was a massive monkey off his back. I'm so happy for him. And we can be as loud in our praise. We criticize, but the praise has to be as loud as the criticism. And today, he got it right. Everything. We played well today. We deserved to win that game today. We went through a lull, James. After the goal, we kind of lost our feet a little bit. We got too emotional. Mikel was getting a bit animated again on the sidelines. The decisions weren't going our way. But we showed maturity, that halftime talk, like you said, and we came out believing we could win that game. And you've got to say that evolution and seeing that in front of your eyes at Newcastle, which is the bogey team for us right now, and they have become the new nemesis. This was huge.
Yeah. I mean, I've said it for years, Soph, and I go back to when Eduardo got injured against Birmingham City. And Gallas threw the strop on the middle of the pitch. And I've always said since then, there's been a mentality throughout every Arsenal team that we've had since, that when something doesn't go our way or something really painful happens, they get too emotionally involved and they can't bounce back from it. Well, today they showed that they can have a period of adversity and come out the other way looking strong. That's all we've wanted. And like you said there, yeah, I'm as loud in my praise as I am in my critique. And today, I knew from that lineup as soon as I saw that lineup, I could go, right, I've got no problem with you today, Mikel, because you've shown the intent and the ethos from the beginning that you're going for this game. Not that you're looking to defend the game or control the game, you're going for the game.
Yes.
And that's all I've ever wanted. That's all I've ever wanted.
Exactly.
Because now he knows the pressure, Soph. He knows that his job, potentially, if I go another season with diddly squat, I might get P45'd.
Yeah, especially when there's been a change at the top. Tim Lewis is out, new director of football.
Exactly.
They're recycling these people. These are business people. They are investing. They want ROI. And Mikel knows now is the time. Now is the time. Yeah. Ben, go knock yourself out and go watch last week's show. It helps the channel, actually. So that would be really nice. Appreciate that. Let's get to Eza real quick. Omar says Eza's a brilliant play. That first half was all Eza for us. Without him, we had nothing to show. I like that he kept shooting the ball when he had the opportunity to do so. I thought he faded a little bit in the second. There was a moment where, he wasn't as effective, but in the 10, I like him on the left, but people are going to say you're crazy. Look what we were able to do today. I think he's effective in the 10, of course. And I think receiving and making something happen versus killer passes, killer through balls. The Martinelli one was unbelievable. He's got it all, right? He does. He has it all. But I thought that he was effective today, but in the second half faded in and out. Thoughts? Yeah,
spot on. I know. I'm gonna have to have a neck brace from the amount I'm nodding, agreeing with yourself. For me, when you've got this Odegaard size hole, and this is something that I was discussing on my channel and everywhere else that I go. Everyone knows I'm here, there, and everywhere. If someone asks me 9 times out of 10, I'm going to say yes, because this is my life. I don't have anything else. I like sitting here talking Arsenal with my friends and all of you lot. That's what I do. And when we have missed, even though Odegaard has been nowhere near the Martin Odegaard that he can be, you are blind and deluded if you can't see that we still miss that player.
And this comment from Cincinnati, I agree with that. Eze looked revitalized when O came on. Yeah.
But when he's not there, for me, I'm like, you've got to play Nwaneri or Eze in the hole. Even though Eze's never done it for Arsenal, because you've got to have a ball manipulate. These forwards that we've got, especially Gyökeres, I keep saying it. People are probably going to get tired of me saying this. He's a guy, I want the ball quick. Give me it quick. Don't keep taking touches going around all the houses. I want nice, direct, fast football. That's what Eze does. And some of the chances that he had in the first half, I mean, it's typical, isn't it? Nick Pope turns into Yashin, Banks, Buffon, any of these goalkeepers you want to. He was superb. I was sat there going, oh, do me a favour. I'm like, he's been pony the last couple of weeks. And he turns into an amazing goalkeeper. I know they've got the best defence in the league this season. Sorry, I'm talking more so last season. But yeah, I'm just like, man, oh man, can he, let one in for God's sake? Because
he was great.
We were peppering, but yeah, Eze, that's what I like.
Because how many saves do you remember David Raya making? Not many, but yeah. Sorry, James. I just you make a good point about the goalkeepers there.
You're saying there as well about the second half. Soon as we got it to 1-1, Soph, as well, and the clock was ticking, when they were doing that, going around, I'm like, just go, give me some chaos. We don't have to do it nice. Just, typical English, like you said, David Hillier as well. Get it in the mixer. Just throw that. I'm like, they're panicking. All game they've been up. Their fans are up. They're up. I'm like, just go, just sacrifice it. Don't have to play nice. Just get the win. And again, like we always go, set piece goal. Who cares, man? Who cares? But yeah, superb.
Yeah. And I think one of the things is you mentioned Mikel Merino at the top. And when he made the changes, I sent you a message saying, okay, so
we all did.
And Saka off, and Mikel Merino, and I understood Martinelli coming on, but I'm like, okay, Calafiori off, Merino on, fine. I'll roll with this. You wanted chaos, James. I thought that was a little chaotic, but again, Mikel Arteta proved us wrong because Mikel Merino comes up in big moments, and this is the beauty of Arsenal. We mentioned it at the top of the show just a little bit. The fact that you can bring on a Mikel Merino. And when you look at kind of our new signings as well, Norgard was on the bench. And MAGPIES hasn't even really played yet. Mosquera came in, but Saliba comes in. You got Eza, who can fill that role. Madueke's injured. You still have Martinelli and Trossard. Martinelli's able to come on. I thought he did well when he came on. The depth that we have, and credit to Mikel Merino, because I think a lot of us at that time were like, this is crazy. What is he doing? But he scores, and he doesn't just score average goals. Like in the air, he's exquisite. He really is a very good player. And I'm so happy that we have him to bring him on in these moments. And you mentioned that you don't think he's a starter, and he's not.
No. So if just quickly, sorry to just jump in here and look at the PSG semi-final, right? The second leg in France last season, yeah? We had a bench. I've got it written down here. Tierney, Zinchenko, Jorginho, Sterling, Setford, Butler Odejeji, Jack Henry Francis as options, yeah? That night, when we were desperately needing a goal and chasing a game, he brought on Ben White, he brought on Trossard, and he brought on Calafiori. Look at the difference now. Like I said earlier, doesn't trust all of them, probably doesn't even want all of them players. But this lot now, they know, even if they're not starting, you're valued, you're appreciated, and you can make a difference. And that's feeding into all of them. Like I said a minute ago about he knows the pressure. These players know. These players know. They don't want to be bridesmaids all their life either.
No.
They don't. They don't.
Of course not.
So, yeah, I mean, both them headers. Someone's put it in there. Marino's our modern day Giroud. I think that's a huge compliment to make, but that header is very Giroud-esque.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a beautiful header. And he's got that in his locker. That is one thing I will give him. He is superb at that. He's amazing.
He really is. He really is, James. Talk to me about Big Gabby. We talked about him already, and that he was probably kicking himself the whole game. Stays patient, set pieces, once again, comes in for the header. One of the things I wanted to touch on as well is the leadership of Big Gabby, not giving up and kind of putting the team on his shoulders as well. Declan, I feel like, leaders, everyone has criticized Arsenal in the past for lacking leadership, and just wanted you to talk about Big Gabby's goal, but also I feel like we have leaders in a lot of different areas. Some are more vocal, some are more silent. But I would say there's 5 solid leaders on this pitch right now for the Arsenal. And in the absence of having Saliba behind him, and Saka going off, no Odegaard, Big Gabby just to the very end never gave up. Talk to me about our leaders.
Yeah. I mean, just because they don't wear the armband doesn't mean that they're not natural leaders. And I know a lot have been said about Odegaard and the captaincy, and a lot of people think that, he should step down or hand it to somebody else. I don't see it. Look, these players, I don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly they had a vote and they said that they wanted to keep him in. I don't believe that vote ever took place. I don't think Mikel Arteta wants anyone else to be the captain of this football club but Martin Odegaard. And so I'm backing Martin Odegaard to come back. I hope he does, because I think deep down, on his day, he can be the best player in our team. I've always said he needs to believe. The problem with him is, for me, I don't think he believes enough how good he is. I think he doubts himself way too much. And where he's been hurt a lot last season, Soph, I see him tuck out of things that he never used to duck out of before. He used to be more braver. He used to take shots on more and everything else. And I'm like, get a bit more selfish and a bit more ruthless, Martin, because I know how good you can be. But no, Gabriel, he's been, let's pre it. He's been one of our best players for about a year and a half, hasn't he? I mean, come on. He's superb.
Maybe
and I see all the love for Timber as well. He's another one.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold off on that, right? So Martin Odegaard, I think this time out, he looked refreshed. I think he didn't believe in himself a lot since the injury last season. You're right on that. 2 previous seasons, I thought without him we don't challenge for the title. But the fact, again, he doesn't have to. He's the captain, sure. Mikel now, everyone says he'll bring his favourites back as soon as they're fit. Well, it's not bad option having Eze on the left and Odegaard in the 10. And he's shown if you're not playing well, he will make ruthless decisions because, as we said, there's too much on the line for him to play favourites this season. And we shall see. And that is the evolution the manager needs to continue to show as well. Right. We've talked about David Raya. He could have made a cup of tea today. Saliba coming on, getting back into the groove of things. Calafiori was decent, got the yellow card, which was ridiculous as well. The midfield we've discussed. We've talked about Eze in the 10, Saka, Gyökeres we've praised. For me, you talk about Big Gabby. We talk about, all of these important players. Saka, Madueke became important to us in such a short space of time. David Raya is important. He holds that stability as well. Jurrien Timber is an absolute baller. This guy, all right, please protect him. I think this season, Timber has been our best player. I don't think he never gives up in a game. He's evolved going forward. I've loved seeing this. He's shown a lot of balls this season, and he inverts, but he's also so good just running that flank the way Benjamin White and Saka connect. I think we missed that a little bit last season. I didn't think that Timber was kind of fully into the going forward part of his role, James. I just thought he was the man of the match. It's easy to say Mikel Merino and Big Gabby because they get the goals. But in terms of that stability at the back, and at times where Mosquera looked a little bit shaky and Gabriel had lost his main man in Saliba, talk to me about Timber.
He's superb, isn't he? I'm again, my neck hurting. He's been our best player this season for me. Easily been our best player for consistency. And like you said there, coming off his ACL, I had a lot of people say that they had doubts about him going forward. They were like, yeah, he's a better defender than Ben White. He's a better organizer and everything else, but he's not offering it going forward. Well, you've seen this season, he's stepped that up big time. There was one in the first half, Soph, and I feel really bad that I can't remember. Someone pinged a diag from the opposite side, and it come down, and he did the statue of Bergkamp where he's like that outside the. He did the Bergkamp jump, and it landed perfectly at his feet, and then he got the pass off as well. And I just sat there and I had my head in my hands, just like, what a footballer you are. I'm getting angry because this game isn't going the way I want, but at the same point, I'm like, you are different gravy, mate. I'm like, you're just, what a footballer. What a superb
I think he's one
footballer.
I think he's one of our best ever signings. Of course, you got to we want them to win. We want them to be winners. But in terms of value for money, effectiveness in the last few years, Jurrien Timber is one of our best ever signings. And I don't like looking in the rearview mirror. I only do that to check my lipstick. But the season we lost him, first game in after signing, I reckon if Timber's in that team, James, we win the title. I really do. And I don't like to look back and say things like that, but I'm going to. Yeah.
Yeah. He's an insanely good footballer. And yeah, complete up and down. I mean, I watch everything that I can, Soph. And for me, next, I think Hakimi, obviously, he won it in the, for me, he is the benchmark, but Timber ain't far away.
He's got to be one of the best right backs in the world right now. Easily. We're going to see. I hope he continues to evolve and rest him when we need to. To me, it's very easy to say, Saliba, Big Gabby, Saka, Jurrien Timber. I love Benjamin White. We all love Benjamin White. There's just an elevated. For me, Jurrien Timber's a world-class player. Benjamin White is an elite player. That's the difference, right? And we did this show with Potsy. We were talking about.
What? Gordon as well has rinsed him a few times. Gordon's been real trouble for him a few times. Didn't have that today. You know, he was like, "You ain't having it with me today, son." And he pocketed him. He handled him superbly. So fair
Yeah.
play.
Yeah. And I think that our players are, you know, growing, and I love seeing the evolution of a player like Timber, and for me, he's one of the leaders. Doesn't do a lot of yelling. It just you could be a leader just by the way you play football, positionally, you know, technically. He just leads by example, the way he plays, and he never gives up. And my God, what an absolute bargain of a player. I love him today. He is my man of the match. And the great thing is, you know, Benjamin White is fit. He's on the bench again. We're going to need all of these players. It's a long season. We're in 4 competitions. And so this is, I think, the kickstart, James, to a potential season where this team now believes, you know. I don't think there was a lot of confidence after Liverpool. The Man City thing, I think they kicked themselves because they knew we should have won that game. They had to bounce back. It's easy to go and play Port Vale and get a result, but to bounce back and get this result and show resiliency, but belief, and show like to all the critics out there who are just waiting for you to melt in the spotlight again, to fall to the wayside, to hand Liverpool the title, you know, in late September with the amount of points that they would have been ahead of us. Arsenal sent the message finally today that they're in this title race and that they're never going to give up. And this squad is deep enough to do something special, James.
Yeah, and the thing for me, Sophie, is I was speaking to many people the other day, and they were saying to me, "Oh, you know, against Man City," and they're like, "Oh, the emphasis in the big games, the ethos and everything else like that, it wasn't there." And I said to them, "Listen, look," I went, "Arteta in big games, for me, really, I have no panic." I was like, the run that I'm going to judge Arteta on is this today, then West Ham, then Fulham, then Palace. And we got Palace after Atletico Madrid. And you think today was heated. You wait till we've got Simeone versus Arteta as a battle. That is going to be, I mean, it was heated when they were against Liverpool. But them two, with both their ethoses and the way they play, oh, that's gonna be like a blowtorch in a bloody microwave. That game, that's gonna be fire. That is gonna be fire. That match. That is. You know, everyone goes, 4D chess. That is gonna be the 4D chess of 4D chess. The bloody Simeone versus Arteta game. I'm telling you. But no, this is where I'll judge him, Sophie, because these are the teams. These are the games where they're gonna get up ya. It's going to be a loud atmosphere. You know, this is when it's nasty. This is where we normally slip up. So this next little run in of games that he's got, this is where I'm going to judge him. Yeah,
I mean, Olympiacos is not going to be easy.
No, Marinakis, Edu back again, you know, with one of their clubs. So they're going to want to do him over. So yeah, I'm looking at it going, get through this run, and I'll be a very, very happy man. And that's very rare for me on here. I know a lot of the fans of the squaddies, some of them love me, some of them hate me, and I don't mind. But yeah, this is the run where you go, this is where I'll judge you, because this is normally where the slip up can happen. But today, first test of it, flying colours past it. Like you said earlier, when them subs were made, we both sat there going, and I went, I don't know how we're lining up here. I went, who's at left back? Who's doing this? That's why he gets the big money and I sit on here talking to you. That's why he's paid the bucks. Clearly in his head and in Stuyvenberg's head. Oh, just quickly as well, I've got to mention, ain't Gabriel Hines amazing?
Yes.
I mean, whenever we score a goal, I want to see him straight. He's a nutcase in the best way. He is mental.
And mentally, I think mentally, and maybe this is like, don't underestimate the impact, you know, because we've had the same assistants for a while. That him coming in, you know, a born winner.
He's a Fergie man. He don't like losing.
No, he's got that chip like a the crazy goalkeeper chip almost. But
Yeah.
and the way you see him is intense in photos and his reactions, like you said. This has to be helping.
The Gabriel goal. It was so funny because he obviously Arteta's running around and they're him and Yova and all that, but he goes behind Arteta like from the back, and Arteta's sort of like whoa, for Arteta to say to somebody, hey,
It's crazy, isn't it? Yeah,
I love him.
I
He's
do.
come in here, and yeah, you're right. He's had an effect on these lads already.
Yeah, I love it. For me today, the team gets a 10 out of 10. The gaffer gets a 10 out of 10. You break the duck. It could have been 4 in a row. And as I said, that hasn't happened since the 60s against Newcastle in their backyard. This was a monumental moment. You break ducks in important seasons. We've done that in 22, 23, 23, 24, but we didn't quite close the deal. And, we just have to keep the momentum going. You can't get a result like this and then let yourselves down. And as James said, now's the time to push on and make it count. And listen, guys, whether you believe Eze's a better 10 than Odegaard, whether you want Martinelli or Trossard or Eze on the left, whether you think the midfield should be Zubi, Rice, Marino or Odegaard, whether you think MLS should start Miles Lewis-Skelly as a left back over Calafiori, whether you're Benjamin White or Timber, if you think Mosquera is as good as Silly, whatever you think, the fact that we're able to have these conversations and talk about a squad like this, and Kepier and Norgard, are still around, and Kepier, he could be the starting left back, when he's fully fit. These are the conversations that we've been dreaming of having. These are the debates that we've been wanting to have. Arsenal Football Club being deep enough for you to have a favourite player in a position, for you to talk about, no, we're superior with this guy playing or that guy playing. These are the moments that we've craved. And you got to give the club credit, Berta credit, but you also now have to give Mikel credit for, he's been given the ingredients, right? I said it on the show the other day. There's someone that goes to the store and does all the shopping, brings the ingredients home, but then there's the cook. They've got to make a great meal. It's got to be delicious and nourishing. And right now, coming out of these fixtures where all of us were just fearful of this start, and to come away and only lose to Liverpool and get a point against City and have these results, I think it's not a bad start to the season. And with another international break coming up after Olympiacos and West Ham, I think we're in pretty good shape. We're going to have to leave it there. I've got to bounce. Please make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Please make sure that you follow James, LL Cool James 91. Please go give his show a subscription. Our player of the match is Timber. The gaffer did great. We talked about the penalty. We talked about all of our players. This was a monumental result for the Gunners. James, you got any shows coming up this week real quick before we bounce? Let the squaddies know.
I will do a post-Newcastle one. So can I just quickly borrow a few seconds of time before we wrap up here? The black armbands that were on today for Billy Vigar, the young lad that was an ex-Arsenal player that sadly passed away. I'm very privileged in that, as well as watching Arsenal, I've watched a lot of non-league, and I see a lot of non-league grounds that have this sort of thing going on. There was a couple of years ago where the club that I watch in non-league only had one defibrillator, and that defibrillator was in the bar. So if an incident did happen, we would have to wait and carry it from the bar all the way to the pitch. And the campaign happened, and most clubs now have a defibrillator either in their dugout or within their tunnel. A lot of people have campaigned and started petitions about this. I know a lot of people that are here as well support their local and their non-league clubs when obviously Arsenal aren't playing, if there's an international break, because non-league continues. I just want to say that's a really tragic and a needless loss of life for this young man and his family. And if any of you see these petitions, or your own non-league club is sharing something to get this all changed and make it a safer environment for these players, by all means, please share it. because again, that was a really needless and tragic loss of life for that young man. And yeah, so I just wanted to throw that out there, Sophie, before we ended. So yeah, rest in peace, and I hope his family were comforted today with that performance and that win.
Well said, James. Well said. We appreciate each and every one of you, and you know how we end this show. Challenging times for a lot of people out there, but days like today give us something to smile about. You can go on and have the bragging rights this weekend, and waking up and going to work on a Monday morning when the Arsenal have won in such a manner is a good feeling as well. I will be back live tomorrow at 6 p.m. UK time, 6 p.m. UK time. Do not miss it. Please make sure you tune in. We have the Velvet Voice himself, Mr. Clive Palmer, joining Monday Madness. That's 6 o'clock tomorrow. Clive Palmer will be giving us his take on this Arsenal, among other things as well. Going to challenge him on a few Mikel Arteta bits and bobs as well. Make sure you follow James too, please, and have a great rest of the weekend. Take care. Look after you. Look after your loved ones. And I will see you tomorrow at 6 with Clive Palmer. Until then, squaddies, at ease, at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.